Welcome to Let's Play Gran Turismo 3, episode 51. Alright. So, upon the success of completing the Amateur GT World Championship, we have now officially completed all but one event in the Amateur League, and obviously that event requires an international A license. And I did do the math in how many events we have to do in the professional league before we can move on to our final amateur league event, even though arcade mode will be coming after that. And officially, there are 9 events we need to get through, and well, the first one we're doing is the professional Spider and Roadster, and I've already decided on which car I want to use. So, we are heading up to the car dealer, and I'm also going to head over to TBR because this is the car I want to purchase, the TBR Griffith 500. And it is available in 5 colours. So we've got white, yellow, red, green, and black. And well, fuck it, let's get this thing in yellow. Just because I want to. And officially, now is the time for us to do some tuning. So first off, I'm going to put on the sports suspension, because I do need this thing to handle. And I'm also going to put on the sport brakes as well, because I figure both of these are mandatory. And since we are starting the professional league, obviously I will need a stage 2 engine, and I'm also going to purchase myself a racing exhaust just in case, and I'm also pretty certain I'm going to need the port polish along with the racing chip, because I figure both of these are necessary. And officially, nope, it does not come with a turbo. And because this is the professional league we are now entering, obviously I am going to need the super slick tyres, and I think I'm also going to get myself the hard tyres just in case. And let's now move onwards to weight reduction. And hopefully I should have enough tuning to officially get through our first event. Oh, that's not where I wanted to go. As of which, it is now time for our first professional league event. And that is this, Spider and Roadster. Reason for that, because it's an international B license event. So, 3-race event as per usual, as we are going to Grand Valley, Trine Mountain and Monaco to finish off. 10 grand if we can win each of these races. And these are the automobiles allowed to enter this event, and obviously I have the Griffith 500, so no problems there, and let's see how we go for race number 1. And hopefully we can win on our first attempt, maybe. We shall wait and see. shit. Okay. It's alright, it's fine. I saved it. I managed to eventually save it. And leading us at the moment is another Griffith. Oh, fuck me. This thing really knows how to fishtail. So, I think I need to keep this thing in third gear if I'm gonna prevent myself from being cursed with the constant oversteer. So yeah, I'm keeping this thing up in third gear so I do not lose the rear end. And at the moment I'm handling a very fucking loose race car. Oh, fuck me. And I just made contact with the Tommy Kyra. Blame me for being the insufficient dumbass. Well, at least I made a good reason to put on the super slick tyres because, as I figured, this thing was going to be very hard on its rear tyres. At the moment I'm currently 4.8 seconds behind the leading TVR Griffith, who I would imagine has a much stronger handling race car than I do. Oh, fuck me. Why can I not control this thing? Why does it literally have to look like a bitch to drive? And yep, I made contact with the Roadster. Guess who is continuing to drive a very much ill-handling hardtop at the moment? That person is me. So starting to narrowly close in on the leading TBR Griffith, although I'm still not sure in knowing if this is officially going to be enough tuning for me to win this race. Because the handling characteristics of this car at the moment are just fucking terrible. It's almost undrivable. But somehow I am able to hold on to it, and officially I set my second lap time within the sub 2-minute range. And keeping this thing in third gear this time so I do not get a snap of oversteer. I have managed to control it this time, and maybe this will be where I managed to start closing in on the leader. Hopefully. Oh, fuck me. And I shifted down into second. Still managing to just cling on to this thing, because the only thing that this TVR is really wanting to do to me right now is just send me into the wall. By the way it's handling at the moment. But I'm steadily closing in on the leader. And if it's possible, I might be able to overtake. Possibly. But again, I'm slowly but surely closing in on the leader. So the gap is now 3.2 seconds to the leading TBR, and hopefully this will officially be where I manage to make a move for the lead. But at the moment it does not look like that's going to happen, because I'm still getting loose pretty much every fucking where I turn at the moment. And wow, I was 2 seconds quicker on that lap. Literally just over 2 seconds quicker. So my lap times are definitely improving, and why did I shift down to second? I will probably never know, but I think I have finally managed to get a grip on this thing. So I think what I need to do is officially, to prevent this car from fishtailing, I need to go through the corners in third gear. But officially, at the moment, I am slowly but surely closing in on the leader. In spite of me having a terrible start to this race, I managed to slowly but surely close in on the leading TBR. And officially, because rubber banding in the professional league is nowhere near as strong as it is in both the amateur and professional leagues, officially, sooner or later, I might be able to take the lead with relative ease, considering this is also my first attempt of officially doing a race in the professional league. Just try not to push it too hard on the throttle. But officially, in the course of 4 laps in this race, I am already just behind the other TBR. And it looks as though this could very well be a possible manoeuvre for the lead, as of which I'm now only 3/10 behind the other TBR. I'm proving to be much faster down the front stretch, and a little bit of contact was made there. Do not know why I shifted down to second gear, but officially the contact he made with me was going to be useless anyway, and already I have now taken the lead. So eventually, in the course of managing to find the stabilisation of the Griffith, I have officially managed to take the lead for the first time in this race. And as I have noticed, my front tyres are already taking quite a battering. And oh shit! But again, this thing still tends to snap a lot if you upset the balance, even by just a minuscule. Then you essentially know very well that this car is really going to come out and bite you if you upset the balance. But at the moment, this is still proving to be a pretty interesting race for the lead. Because from here, I think I have done enough tuning to possibly win this race, considering I'm pretty certain these AI will be making pit stops throughout this event, and officially, all I can really say at the moment is trying to see if I can hold on for the lead. But I think I've managed to find a balance with this thing, and already, as I expected, the TBR is now in the pits, and officially, because pit stops are probably going to keep happening in the professional league, this is officially where I will manage to extend my interval quite largely. as of which it is now officially the Elise that takes the second position, along with the Roof 3400S in third position, methinks. And officially, because rubber banding is not very strong in the... sorry, battling with the Tommy Kyra for the second position, at the moment, all I can really say is that I have definitely made a good choice by going for the TBR. And also quite a cheap choice as well, because I'm probably going to be spending quite some bucks on these events by the time I get down to them. I can certainly guarantee that, because these events are going to be expensive. Even though officially I am now 16 seconds clear of the Tommy Kyra and still continuing to extend my interval. Alright, so coming up to the end of lap 6 now, and I think this pretty much looks like this is what the race will come down to. Even though obviously I would still think I'm going to easily win this event by the default of my tyre longevity, and as of which we are now pretty much over halfway through this race and heading up to the hairpin turn now for the 7th time here at Gran Valley. Going steady on the throttle because I do not want to cause any oversteer. And officially I am now 18 seconds clear of the Tommy Kyra, who is still locked in combat with the Roadster Elise for the 3rd position. And now the Roof comes into the pits, whereas I am officially just continuing to extend my interval. And it now looks as though the Elise has officially taken 2nd position away from the Tommy Kyra, and also furthermore the S2000 is now in the pits. But again, I'm doubtless in saying I will probably not overlap anyone, because nobody is way the fuck behind, officially. But as we are now coming through to the 7th lap here at Gran Valley, all I can really say now is I'm just continuing to extend at a vast rate of knots. And I'm pretty certain, since the TBR pitted in at the end of lap 5, I'm pretty certain he probably does have to stop in again. Whereas for me, I can pretty much go onwards and maybe see if I can win this race, hopefully. So we are now at the end of lap 7 and only 2/10 off my best lap time on that lap. So we still have 3 laps to go here at Gran Valley. I'm pretty certain I can probably win this race by now, because I have everything I need in order for this first event to be a success. And officially the TBR is starting to move himself back into the equation, but I'm pretty certain up to this point I am probably guaranteed the victory because of the default settings with my tyre longevity, which subsequently is the only reason why I've managed to extend my lead by so much up to this point. And I think this is where the TBR could very well take 2nd position back, but again, I would imagine by the end of lap 10 his tyres are literally going to be shot. So there is quite a battle going on for 2nd position at the moment. Meanwhile for me, I am pretty much just continuing to extend my lead gradually. I have got no challenges for the lead at the present time, and officially all I need to do now is just keep myself going for the next 2 laps, try not to crash, and then hopefully I can manage to hold on for an easy W. So, officially starting the penultimate lap here now at Gran Valley, and my lap times for pretty much the past 4 laps have been within the sub 2 minute mark. And officially all I can now say up to this point is, well, let's go further onwards and see if we can win. So I'm now pretty much half a minute clear of the Elise, and it doesn't look like I'm going to overlap anybody in this race, because I think everyone by now has probably made their pit stops, with the exception of the Elise and the Tamikaira. And officially the TBR Griffith now retakes the first position, and officially it now looks like I am probably going to be on my way to another win. Which in my mind is probably the best way possible for me to start off this segment. So 32.2 seconds now, I am cleared of the TBR, so I can pretty much say that I've definitely done enough tuning to win this race. And heading through the final corner now once again, 32.7 seconds clear now of the other TBR Griffith, and I almost beat my best lap time, as we now begin the 10th and final lap here at Gran Valley, where I am pretty certain I will manage to hold on for the race win, because I am pretty much way the fuck ahead of everyone else. So, and now the Elise is officially in the pits. And so it now looks like the final finishing order has probably been decided. So, heading across the bridge now for the 10th and final time here at Gran Valley, and officially, as we now head through the 4th tunnel and up to the chicane, all I really need to do now is pretty much hit the cruise button, because I can pretty much coast home to the race win now, considering how much of a lead I officially have over the fellow TBR, and across the line now, and there we go. It is victory at Gran Valley, and all we need to do now is wait for the rest of the field to finish, which could very well take a while. But yeah, let's wait for everybody else to finish. As of which it took me just under 20 minutes to finish that race. Alrighty then, everyone has managed to finish, and as of which the S2000 finished nearly 2 minutes behind me. And 10 grand for winning this race, and obviously different trophy as well because it's the professional league. And you know what, let's continue. Alrighty then, so 1 race is down and still 2 to go. And will I be able to dominate these other 2 races like I have done the first race? We shall wait and see. But anyways, it is now time for Trial Mountain. And this could be a bit more of a challenge because this time we have the motorsport at least in this field. And obviously, I'm not saying which opponents I'm up against because, well, you can probably just read it for yourselves, but officially most of the field is pretty much the same, except for saying this time we have the motorsport release in comparison to when we previously had the Elise 190. And at the moment, as I expected, the TVR is leading, and I almost tapped the wall there because of how loose this thing is at the start of races, but when it comes to cold tyres, and that's essentially what I'm running on. But once the car manages to warm up the tyres, it can really start to go on a tear away. And essentially, I can basically chomp up that margin and, oh okay, we have both of the Elises in this race, and both of them are racing in green for this race. And I would imagine it's probably going to take a similar amount of time to catch up to the leading Griffith, similar to what it was in the previous race, because I would imagine it's probably going to take me less than half the race to catch up to the Griffith in comparison to the race at Gran Valley, as of which at the moment I'm only 2.3 seconds behind. But that was only because I was very loose at the start of the previous race, and at the moment I'm gradually closing in. And the TBR and oh shit! Just managing to correct myself from the oversteer. The motorsport Elise is currently running in 3rd behind me, and I'm pretty certain he probably will be daring to make a pass very soon because of how loose I am through the corners, and he could very well be a serious contender for the race win. But again, I'm pretty sure it will obviously be the durability of the super slick tyres that will probably win me this race, because that's exactly what it was in the previous race, and how exactly I am managing to survive this race without any major problems. So the gap is starting to increase between myself and the leading TBR at the moment, but obviously it's not going to be too long before he makes his pit stop, and that is primarily when I will take the lead, because obviously I'm on the super slick tyres, and I would imagine at the most my fellow TBR Griffith 500, I would imagine, is probably on the, I think, racing medium tyres. Well, either that or is on the sports tyres. I couldn't tell you which ones he's officially on, but I'm starting to close that gap down again, but obviously I don't really need to push too hard at the moment, because I'm pretty confident I'll overtake him by the time it comes down to pit stops, and obviously once the TBR does manage to make a stop, I'm pretty certain I will manage to take the lead. So I'm starting to slowly but surely close in on the leading TBR, but obviously I'm not really going to be expecting anything special at the present time. So, like it was at Grand Valley, I am slowly but surely shrinking the interval between us, and it will only be a matter of time before I can officially pull off and overtake. Had to brake early there, so I did not become a victim to the inevitable oversteer that I am currently feeling, and officially 3 laps of this race are now done. And because this course is shorter in terms of distance than Gran Valley, I am pretty certain that this race will probably be faster than Grand Valley. Considering it took less than 20 minutes for me to finish at Grand Valley, and the main reason for that was simply because of how durable my tyres were. And the gap is now only a second to the leading TBR, but obviously I do want to try and see if I can win this race fair and square, and that is effectively what I am trying to accomplish. So, on to the 5th lap now here at Tri Mountain. And at the moment, this car is still pretty tricky to handle, but obviously the trickery of the tuning is managing to work its magic, and officially it is now safe to say that we are pretty much separated from the rest of the field. Even though, surprisingly, this race, unlike Grand Valley, which is basically a tyre chomper when it comes to the abrasive track surface, this race is actually proving to be a lot closer than Grand Valley was. Considering obviously this circuit is a lot kinder to the tyres than Gran Valley is. And so, approaching the end of lap 5, and it will probably not be too long before the TBR pits in, and then once he does, obviously that is when I will be there to strike. So, not making any attempts for the lead at the moment, but obviously I am trying to see if I can stay close to the leading TBR, and I'm pretty certain this race will probably be about 15 minutes, which does also prove, of course, that this race will be, on aggregate, I think about probably more than 4 minutes quicker than Grand Valley was, considering obviously Grand Valley is a much bigger circuit, or a bit bigger of a circuit than Tri Mountain is. So this is actually proving to be an interesting race at the moment, because I'm staying close to the leading TBR, but at the same time I'm not managing to make any manoeuvres for the lead. So this is pretty interesting, and this could be my opportunity, as of which we were literally side by side coming off the exit of that hairpin, and he was on the outside, and oh crap, I'm sliding. But no challenges made of the sort through that corner. I'm managing to stick of course to the inside line, holding on to the first position, and we are still battling hard for the lead at the moment, as I now managed to take the lead here at Trial Mountain, and the gap is now a second at the end of that lap, and all I really have to do now is just go the distance, and hopefully I will not lose this thing, even though I'm still continuing to slide a lot. And yes, I did figure I would slam on the brakes so that I do not slide into the rocks, because I'm pretty certain that is probably what will happen eventually, considering how many times I've literally been close to scraping the walls. But again, at the moment, this is proving to be a much closer race than Gran Valley was. Certainly much closer by miles, basically, because the field is not as separated in this race as it was in the previous race. Probably because of how abrasive the track surface was on the tyres. Literally having to park it there just to prevent it from sliding into the grass, and as I anticipated, the TBR is now in the pits, and that has officially handed the race win over to me, which means once he gets out of the pits I can pretty much cruise home. Well, not necessarily. No. Correction, the Elise is now behind me, so it looks like this will probably be a pretty close finish, considering it's now the Elise in the second position, and on the same lap as the TBR, pits in the S2000. So lap 8 of race 2 in the professional Spider and Roadster event, and at the moment I am leading this thing by under 5 seconds over the Motorsport Elise. I am slowly increasing that gap, but I am pretty certain it will not be too long before the interval shrinks, because this overall has been a pretty close race, and obviously I really didn't think the Motorsport Elise was going to be this close. Even though at the moment I am steadily increasing my lead. So heading through the chicane once again, and now starting the 9th and penultimate lap of this event. Oh shit! Yeah, there was no way I was gonna make the corner once I got oversteer. Fortunately, however, I am managing to keep myself in contention for the win, and so the gap is not increasing by much, but I am managing to slowly and steadily increase that gap, like I said before, as of which we have just 1 lap to go after this one. So the gap is now 6.3 seconds, and still and counting, because I am steadily pulling away from the Elise, and I think it's fair to say I might need to do a detune for Monaco, considering obviously I would imagine Monaco is going to be piss easy. Anyways, the gap is now 7.3 seconds. So I'm suspecting the Motorsport Elise must be on worn tyres, in other words the racing Elise, as I now start the final lap here at Trial Mountain, and hopefully this will also be my victory lap. Yeah, 8.7. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that victory is pretty much guaranteed up to this point unless I fuck this up. But hopefully that won't be the case. And it is now 10 seconds to the Elise. And it looks as though the TVR is managing to close in again, but I don't think I'll be able to catch up to the motorsport Elise in time to officially taking away second position, because I think the interval by now is too large between those two. Anyways, as for my race, everything has pretty much gone according to plan. I'm getting a little bit of tyre wear now on the right hand side, but it's not going to affect me too much, and officially we now head down the hill into the final corner here at Shrine Mountain, heading under these bridges once again. These rather low bridges if you ask me, and there we go. And I also set a new fastest lap by less than a second to compensate. And now, oh okay, the Griffith is eventually going to wind up in 5th. So the Elise finishes second, precisely 12.5 seconds behind me. And now, all we have to do is wait for the Honda S2000, as everyone else has just finished. There he is. He finally manages to finish precisely a minute behind the Motorsport Elise. So, I was first, the Motorsport Elise was second, then it was the Tommy Kyra ahead of the Elise 190. The other TVR finished in 5th as a result of his pit stop, and then at the back it was the Honda S2000. By literally a minute and 12 seconds behind me, and also pretty much a full minute behind the Motorsport Elise. Anyways, final race, and it takes place in Monaco, and where I will officially be saving the replay here, because I still have not saved a replay. Anyways, let's go to 15 laps of domination. So, I think it's fair to say this will probably be a race of domination, judging by what I can see here, because the AI don't tend to get around Monaco very well, or at least not as well as the player tends to do, because this is one of the AI's less competent circuits, and as of which I am already up into 5th position as the S2000 collides with me rather aggressively, even though obviously he knew very well that it was inevitable I would pass him, because I have the much more superior car for this event. And officially, I am now diving down the inside of both the Elise and the Tommy Kyra as we head through Lowe's Hairpin, and heading up of course to the Portier section right before the tunnel, and going past the blinding sun once again, because obviously that's the thing, and officially the Griffith is in the wall, and I think that's pretty much handed the race win over to me, because I know very well this AI do not tend to get around this circuit very well, because they tend to crash a lot, and that's exactly how I can use this to my comfortable advantage, because obviously I think it's fair to say the win up to this point is guaranteed, regardless of how fucking annoying the sun is, because it literally shines on you quite blindly, in my honest opinion. over pretty much every corner you enter, which is basically the main reason why this is not one of my personal favourite circuits in this game, and oh fuck me. And somehow, in spite of that crash, the Griffith has now managed to manoeuvre himself back up into the second position, and as I run wide he literally just motors right by me. Although it doesn't matter too much because I'm pretty certain he will have to pit. As a matter of fact, I think all of these AI will probably have to pit before this race is done, and that is exactly how I will manage to win this race. But obviously, this version of Monaco is much easier to overtake on than the original version, or at least on the actual circuit, because officially I can now say at the moment I'm engaged in quite a fight for the lead, and the Griffith almost makes the same mistake again, and I just hit the wall on the exit of the Nouvelle chicane as I head down the harbour straight into Tabac, and officially now through the swimming pool section, or in other words the pool chicanes, and now heading down into Le Rascasse, and officially onto the bus stop straight we go, and now starting the third lap here in Monaco, as I now head through Saint-Devote for the third time here in Monaco, and now once again heading up the hill into the Hotel de Paris, running wide once again, as I now head down through Casino Square into Mirabeau, and trying to keep this thing on the curbs, and shifting up into third gear so I do not get a snap of oversteer, and nice exit off of Loewy's hairpin, and now heading through the Portier section into the tunnel, keeping this thing under control as we now head through the tunnel for the third time here at Monaco, and getting a little bit of wheel spin off the exit, but still being able to hold on to the interval, and a little bit of contact there with the outside wall. Just literally sliding my way through the swimming pool section, but not crashing into anything, as we now head through what I think is the Variante Alta, and now heading through Le Rascasse, and back down the front stretch we go as I over-rev the engine just a little bit there, and officially we are now onto lap number 4, and officially I am slowly managing to increase my lead over the TBR. So at the moment this is a pretty closely contested race, but obviously not really too much of an exciting race in my complete honest opinion, because at the moment I am slowly but surely increasing the gap, as of which the gap itself, as I now head through Loewy's for the 4th time here, is now pretty much 5 seconds. And now heading through the tunnel, as of which I believe there is a car park just above this tunnel, if I remember correctly, even though obviously that's effectively where Loewy's hairpin is. Now heading down through the Nouvelle chicane, and down the harbour straight we go, going past these luxury yachts and street lights, as we now head through the swimming pool section once again, and oh shit. almost losing the rear end there before the Variant Alta, and officially now heading through the Larascas corner, down the bus stop stretch we go, and officially now starting lap number 5 here in Monaco, as of which we will officially be pretty much presumably a lap ahead of at least one of these guys, possibly two of these guys, by how much I'm now continuing to extend my lead. And again, still not as boring as Grand Valley, because obviously the racing has been pretty close before the pit stops for most of these, and officially I have of course managed to extend my interval over the second placed TVR, and officially I think it now looks like I am probably going to be en route to a potential clean sweep, as I am just continuing to motor away from the rest of these AI. Still getting the inevitable wheel spin as we now head down the bus stop stretch once again, now to completing a third of the race. And I am still sliding here and there pretty much everywhere at the moment, and all I can really say besides that is I am managing to keep going. So the gap is now 15.697 seconds over the other TVR Griffith, but again, I'm still continuing to extend that interval because obviously these AI do not know the complexion of going flat out at Monaco. And that is officially where I can manage to do everything right. So 15.7 seconds now the gap, even though I'm pretty certain that gap will increase by the time pit stops are made. And it will surprise me if I don't overlap anybody in this race by the time pit stops are made. Even though that's probably vice versa, because I think everyone will probably finish on the lead lap, but obviously I think it's pretty clear to say that both the Roof and the S2000 are pretty much the back markers in this race, judging by how far behind they are in comparison to the nimble convertibles. And the gap is now 20 seconds, so pretty much a third of a minute. As we are now onto the beginning of lap 7. So, still continuing to motor away from the rest of the field at the moment, as of which the reason why I chose the TVR is because it's cheap, and also because obviously I'm going to be spending some big bucks on the remaining International B licence events, as of which most of them are notably championship events, as you would expect. And officially, I think it is now safe to say I will probably win this race. Even though I really don't see the purpose on why exactly they made this race 15 laps when the other two were only 10 laps. As in, like, I really don't see the perpetuality or the purpose of extending this race. I know that might just be me, but obviously it really doesn't seem necessary to extend the final race, I don't think. Even though I could be wrong. Anyways, I now set a new purple lap time. In other words, I set a new PB, and I am now officially half a minute clear of the TBR. And because of how dreary this race is becoming, I am currently just continuing to extend this interval at a pretty much vast rate of knots. As we now head through Portier now for lap number 8, and heading through the tunnel once again, as to which officially I am just continuing to extend my lead. And also, I do want to correct what I said before. It probably will surprise me if I do manage to overlap at least one of these AI in this race. That probably will surprise me quite a bit if I do manage to do that. But anyways, we are nearly 2/3 of the way through this race. I'm pretty much halfway now because I've completed 8 out of the 15 laps set to run here at Monaco, where I am pretty much extending my interval very quickly indeed. So it is officially tyre longevity that manages to overrule pure acceleration. Considering that is exactly what the professional league is basically all about. Tyres. I know some of you right now are probably telling me this is a farcical race from what you have seen, but obviously I really cannot make the racing more exciting, unfortunately, up to this point, because ultimately I can now pretty much safely say that by the time we get up to the final lap, that I'll pretty much be guaranteed for the race win. Anyways, 9 laps down and still 6 to go. In this pretty much snooze fest of a race. Oh fuck. That is a wall. So 45.8 seconds is now the interval, and it really wouldn't surprise me if by the time we get to the end of this race the interval is probably going to be over a minute. And I should not have shifted down into first gear. Anyways, the Griffith is now in the pits, and officially he's going to try the undercut over the Tamikaira and the Lotus, as of which that probably is going to be likely to work, because obviously it will not be much longer before those two have to pit, and I'm pretty sure they will. But at the moment, like I've been saying before, I'm just continuing to extend my interval. I think it's fair to say that by the time those two both stop, I am pretty much in the clear for the race win, pretty much, is all I can really say. Oh fuck. I still cannot get a handle on this thing. It's pretty much suffice enough to say that I am probably going to be a certain race winner. Up to this point. I do not know how I avoided scraping the wall there through the first of the two swimming pool chicanes, and officially I think it's now fair enough to say that I will probably be guaranteed for the race win by the time I overlap the S2000, which I predict is what will probably happen before this race is over, because I'm pretty certain he will also have to pit, because this race is 15 laps in comparison to the 10 laps that we've had in the previous two races. I am still driving a very loose race car at the moment, which by the way I have also noticed is quite hard on the tyres. Anyways, the Reef 3400S is now in the pits. And officially, I am slowly but surely closing in on the S2000 up to this point, as we are now heading down the back stretch into La Rascasse once again, as we now head up the hill. A little bit of a bump there, and officially we now have just 3 laps to go here in Monaco. Even though I would imagine this race is probably just about as exciting as the Monaco Grand Prix up to this point, because, well, the 2021 Monaco Grand Prix, that was pretty boring in my honest opinion by the time the formation lap happened, and also by the time Bottas dropped out with a tightened wheel nut during his pit stop, and then effectively after that it was basically just, you know, pretty much a snooze fest from there. But also after but also pretty much after Charles Leclerc pretty much fucked up his Ferrari for the race during qualifying after his attempt on the pole, and officially reverting back to what I said before, I do manage to overlap the S2000, so that officially means I do not have to wait so fucking long for everyone to finish. Anyways, 1 minute and 4 seconds is now the distance to the Tommy Kyra up to this point, and officially the Honda S2000 is now in the pits. Although fortunately I've already managed to overlap him, so obviously I do not have to wait too long for everyone to finish. Even though obviously everyone else at the moment is pretty much on a separate lap compared to me. Although I'm pretty certain that if this race was 30 laps, I'm pretty certain I would have probably overlapped the entire field by now if this race was 30 laps, but fortunately it is not. Anyways, heading through the tunnel now for the penultimate time in this race, which is pretty much second to last, and for pretty much the many decades that Monaco has officially been a racing venue. As I would have anticipated, this race was pretty much a snooze fest. Simply because of how these AI are just not as competent around Monaco, like I've said countless times before, as they are other circuits. And officially, we are now coming onwards to the final lap here at Monaco. And so, here we go. For pretty much the final lap here at Monaco, as I now head through Mirabeau and down through the hairpin. My domination continues. So I'm now pretty much 75 seconds clear of the Tommy Kyra, but because of how much faster I am around Monaco, I'm pretty certain that interval will extend, as of which it is gonna take quite a while for everyone to finish at Monaco, because, I mean, fucking hell. For how much I have been dominating this race, I'm pretty certain it is gonna take quite a while for everyone to finish. And it will probably also give me some time to chug through the cup of water that is right in front of me, because it is hot outside my room today. Anyways, victory at Monaco. And all we really have to do now is pretty much wait for everyone else to finish. That is gonna take a while. Alright, everyone has finally finished, and as of which I won by 1 minute and 25 seconds in that race. Literally almost a whole lap ahead of the rest of the field. Then it was the Elise in third, followed by the other Griffith 500 in fourth, the Roof 3400S was in 5th, which is basically a Porsche Boxster, judging by its looks. And at the back, it is once again the Honda S2000. But fortunately, I did not have to wait as long because I overlapped him. Anyways, let's now save this replay, because obviously I do not have a replay saved yet, and this is very much the first. And now let's move on to the prize car. And what prize car are we going to win today? We win a Shelby Cobra. Nice. Very nice. God, I love the way this thing looks. This thing looks awesome. That is some snackiness right there. Anyways, that was Spider and Roadster, and officially it was a clean sweep. To start off the Professional League events, and we are now 44.4% complete. And officially, this is our prize car. A Shelby Cobra that is also blue with white stripes. And this thing has under 500 horsepower. God, I love the way this thing looks. And I'm actually not joking, I really do love the way this thing looks. Alright, I'm done. And so, there we go. To start off the Professional League, I have officially made this event a clean sweep. And next time we shall be doing the Professional Boxer Spirit. And so with that, stay tuned for more of GT3.